Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
The death, La Santa Muerte, almost took my cousin's military fellows for stealing its money. Mexican Anon here, and the photo is not mine. Sorry if I misspell my English, but screw it. Here's the context. La Santa Muerte, the death, is a well-known and controversial entity here. It's almost like a god that some people worship for wealth, health, or protection. If you ever come here, you'll see some rural markets selling statues and incense so you can become one of its followers. It's an entity that you must show great respect and discretion for, or else it will fuck you over one way or another. I'm new here, so I'll try to make a silly attempt of a greentext about this experience that my retired army cousin told me about. Be my cousin in the middle of a military mission at night. Mission is about searching and rescue for a pair of kidnapped siblings, children of some important corrupt politician. Responsible ones are members of a drug cartel. Typical. Being my cousin driving a military vehicle with his superior and colleagues on board, all armed and ready to hit. All heading to a remote rural town almost in the middle of nowhere, following a clue about a suspicious old woman in the case. Weird, shitty town. All the boys can immediately feel the rejection of the reserved inhabitants. But the boys don't give a damn and continue crossing the town until they reach the house of the suspicious old woman, which is further away from the town. The ugliest house you've ever seen. No more than 9.8 by 9.8 feet tall. Built with dried palm bark. Extreme poverty is visible. Boys find the suspicious old woman inside, as wrinkled as a raisin. There's nothing but an old stone kitchen and a suspicious rug in the middle of the small house. The hag plays the innocent and helpless granny card. The boys don't fall for her crap and subdue her. The hag immediately shows her true colors and screams like a crazy witch cursing the boys. But the boys don't care and immediately remove the suspicious carpet in the middle of the room. They find a metal trapdoor that leads to a secret basement. Let the rookie watch the hag while everyone else goes down to investigate. Shit, the place is big and it's a prostitution and human trafficking business. Boys clear the place, find victims and some cartel accomplices. Inside a small room, they find the missing siblings kidnapped and gagged, but they're unharmed. Unfortunately, that's not the most messed up thing the boys find. My cousin continues clearing the room until, at the end of the room, he finds a large, imposing door in front of him. The hairs on my cousin's body immediately stand up, but he doesn't give a shit because he's cool, and he opens the damn door. They find a statue of death that's over 8 feet tall inside, almost like the attached image. My cousin freezes, almost as stiff as the statue. Below it lies a strange but large triangular altar with dozens of lit candles. But what stands out most are the hundreds of bills surrounding and taped to that strange altar. My cousin estimates and theorizes that there could easily be 2 million pesos, $103,300. Holy Mother of God. My cousin immediately yells at the boys to come see this shit. Boys arrive and immediately freeze like logs. No one says a word for a long time. The atmosphere in that cold room is morbid and heavy. Boys decide to leave that shit for last after clearing the perimeter. After clearing the entire perimeter and evacuating the victims, it's time to face that room. No one has the balls to volunteer, but the boys have to do it reluctantly. Boys don't know what to do, but their commander doesn't agree. The commander orders the boys to collect the money from the altar. Boys back off, not daring to touch that shit. Commander calls them all cowards. Commander is visibly frustrated by the situation. So to take away the fear from the boys, he draws his rifle. The commander slams the 8 feet statue hard with the butt of his rifle, breaking the ceramic. Inside the statue are bags and bags of drugs hidden. Perfect. Commander goes mad and continues smashing the statue with hatred. Boys watch in disbelief. Boys have no choice but to give in, and they begin to pocket the money. The boys leave seemingly victorious, but they aren't at ease. They head back to cross the town and leave that place once and for all. The atmosphere is totally different now, and my cousin can sense that his companions feel it too, due to the heavy silence between them. Anyway, The boys cross the town again, but this time on foot. A female resident who came out of nowhere approaches them and says, "You guys are carrying something that doesn't belong to you." What the hell? Boys turned paler than they already were. How did this woman know? Boys didn't ask about it. The commander lowered his pride and tucked his tail between his legs, immediately knowing this was bigger than they'd thought. Without beating around the bush, they asked the woman where they should leave what they'd taken. The female resident tells the boys to go to a place even further from the town. She says they'll find a statue there, and they should leave the stolen goods at the statue's feet. But that's not all. You guys have to leave the stolen goods at the statue's feet, apologize sincerely and repentantly, and then leave without looking back. That's what the woman instructed. The woman also adds, "You must absolutely not look back for anything in the world, or else it'll kill you all." Boys begin to sweat cold, but they try to maintain their composure in front of the townspeople. With their tails between their legs, they get into the vehicle and head in the indicated direction. No one says anything along the way. Total silence, too wrapped up in their own thoughts. Several minutes passed on the uneven dirt road with my cousin at the wheel. But wait, holy shit. My cousin says it was just a blink, in a blink of an eye. And then that thing appeared. A person, dressed in long black clothes with a hood, appeared in front of the vehicle out of nowhere. Boys in the vehicle jerk and tell my cousin to go to hell for the sudden stop, but my cousin is more occupied staring in shock at the thing standing in front of them. The shitty commander moves into the front seat to berate my cousin. "Hey, why are you stopping?" At that point, my cousin comes out of his shock and responds with growing nervousness. "Why? Look for yourself in front of him, Commander." Commander's face.jpg. The most oppressive silence of your life fell again, with only the sound of the vehicle's engine growling. That thing, which kept its face lowered and covered by its black hood, didn't move from its place and just remained there. Boys were scared shitless, with an unusual coldness that penetrated their bones, something I forgot to mention before. "So, what do I do now, Commander?" My cousin asked nervously, with no one taking their eyes off that chilling figure. "Nothing, just keep going, but be careful." But before my cousin could do anything, the damn thing disappeared right before their eyes. My cousin's face and the commander again.jpg. No one said anything, too scared to speak. My cousin had no choice but to keep going, too slowly and carefully with the vehicle. It seemed like an eternity, but the boys finally arrived at the right place. They see another damn giant stone statue of death in the middle of the plains, too scared and fed up to even wonder what kind of damn town this is. With their legs shaking, the boys got out of the vehicle with the bag of money in their hands and approached the new statue very cautiously. Boys carefully left the stolen money at the statue's feet, just as the woman had instructed them. After that, one by one, the boys went to show their sincerest apologies to the statue, apologizing for everything they had done to it. My cousin says it was a very strange moment, armed and imposing soldiers apologizing profusely to an inanimate statue. But absolutely no one complained or protested. The boys just acted as if something important depended on it. After giving their apologies and showing respect, the moment arrived. All the boys reminded each other to follow the woman's orders and not to look back as they walked away for anything in the world. And so they did, walking slowly and upright back toward the vehicle, all at the same time and without looking back. When the boys reached the vehicle and got inside, curiosity got the better of them because they're dumb. They turned to look back and the money had completely disappeared. What the actual fuck? My cousin said it was surprising and terrifying because there seemed to be no trace of any money being left at the statue's feet. There was no one around and it seemed as if it had vanished out of nowhere. But the real shit was about to begin. From here on, my cousin's memories are hazy. Almost immediately after witnessing that, other people with guns ambushed and attacked the boys, presumably other cartel members. The boys, who were already relieving themselves, shit themselves even more. They weren't at their best to deal with that. So, cowardly but intelligently, they simply ran away from there at full speed, not wanting anything more to do with that damn place. My cousin only remembers sweating while driving like a maniac trying to escape the bullets. Although, looking back, My cousin thinks he and his other buddies really could have died that night. He thinks that if they hadn't returned the money, they probably wouldn't have the same luck. He's fine now, although a little screwed up from everything else that happened to him in the army. Now this Anon will go to sleep. Good night, and never forget to respect death.
What do you know of her /X/? I've worked with her before, but not much, and have found some success. Anyone else have any experiences?
I guess I'll start with a small story. A few years back, I had moved into a new neighborhood by myself. At the time, I didn't have a car, so I took the bus home. I would often take shortcuts or different paths home just to explore or find a quicker way. On one of these paths, I discovered a hidden shrine to Santa Muerte. Off the beaten path, but not too much. She looked like people took care of her, but I couldn't tell how often. I made a mental note and went on my way. I kept being drawn that way just to see if I would catch anyone leaving an offering or something, but I never did. A couple months pass and I'm working the same job at the same boring pace. I have nothing to show for it and I'm still in the same living situation as I was before. I originally thought myself moving to this area, an apartment was going to be temporary till I found better. So one day at the gas station, I stopped by to get smokes, and I saw some of those tall candles and glass people use for offerings, and I noticed the little shrine had some, but were all burnt out. I figured, screw it, anything can help at this point. So I bought myself a green candle, thanks Google, and went on my home. I went to the altar and lit the candle and said a simple prayer asking for some luck and fortune. Well, for about a month, nothing really happened or changed. Every day I went home and said a prayer until my candle went out. I was surprised how long they last when undisturbed. Even still, when I walked by, I kind of clasped my hands and whispered a prayer to myself. No shit, one day my boss comes and asks about some of my skills and some of my past, veteran, and told me to apply for an upcoming promotion. I did one interview, and the next day was told I got it. I went and left a few candles the next day and kept cleaning it up till I got my own altar. There's more to this, of course, but that's just a small example. I'm open to questions as well. It's been about 5 years since that time.
Mexican here. I'm not a devotee of her, and I have never worked with her, but I know people who did. She's definitely legit, but you have to keep the promises you made with her. If you don't, something bad will happen to you. Also, the way she helps you could be too extreme for your liking. A friend of mine divorced, and in the legal dispute, she was about to lose the house she bought all by herself to her ex-husband and her ex-mother-in-law. She asked La Santa Muerte for help, and in gratitude, she would give her a white rose every month. The ex-mother-in-law soon died of a brain stroke, and the ex-husband got hit by a car, making him wheelchair-bound for the rest of his life. In the end, my friend won the case and gave a white rose to La Santa Muerte every month. But one month she forgot, and lights started to turn off and things started to move in the house, until she went buy a rose and to give it to La Santa Muerte.
My cousin is into the worship of La Santa Muerte, or the Holy Death. Some people argue that it is a cult, while others argue that they are only worshiping to death in a way some Catholics pray to a patron saint. She is into these superstitions, and when she comes over, we like to talk about it. Anyway, when you pray to La Santa Muerte, any favors she grants, you have to pay for it. By that I mean that you offer an apple or flowers, a gift. But it is not a once-per-favor gift but for a while, because if you would stop, something negative can happen to the person asking for the favor, be it an injury, bad fortune, or worse, death. She is also extremely jealous and will not tolerate anyone who prays for her to go and pray for another saint. Anyway, one story that she tells is that her ex-boyfriend was very doubtful and always made fun of La Santa Muerte. My cousin kept on warning him that if he didn't believe in her, to at least be respectful. One day when he had the house to himself during the daytime, he felt the presence of a being, but that being emanated some sort of fear. I think like the Nazgul? When she returned later in the evening, she found him in a closet crying. Mexican folktales are common in villages, and some of the more spooky are moans of despair. I heard one once while in Mexico, and you pretty much freeze up with shivers down your spine.
My aunt dabbles with a bit of magic. She has a pretty decent-sized section of her house dedicated to Santa Muerte. She and some of my cousins used to huddle around candles and prayed, supposedly having visions. At the time, my cousin was about 16. His father was an alcoholic, and he drank pretty heavily as well. He told me one day that he decided to do the ritual without aunt, just for fun and to see if it works. He said that he saw himself as an old man, lying motionless on the floor, with an empty bottle of beer. Afterwards, he vowed to himself and my aunt that he'll never drink a drop of alcohol again, and she gave him a lucky charm. A while later, he had a baseball game at school, and his friend was talking about a party. He was invited, knowing there would be drinking involved, and decided that he would break the promise and drink. Soon after, he claims that the bracelet broke right then and there. A little while later, he broke his arm during the game and got a cast. When he got it removed, he noticed he had 3 weird marks on his broken arm that resembled a frowning face. I've seen it, and it does look like a frowning face. I'd like to believe it's true, but I get the feeling he was bored one day and decided to make up some story about his scar. What do you guys think?
My family is Mexican, and my siblings and I are pretty much the first-gen Mexican-Americans in our family. We live 5 minutes from the Mexican border as we have more properties down in Mexico, so for years I began getting sick. Everything I ate made me sick. I went to a lot of doctors and none of them could pinpoint what was wrong. I ended up losing so much weight that people, even my mother, thought I was faking my pain and was actually anorexic. It wasn't until one gastroenterologist found out I had hypothyroidism and also severe gastritis, which changed the way my digestion worked. So I got meds for that, but never really got better. But I did gain some weight. Then my period began and lasted for 3 months straight. But being me underweight, losing that much blood every day made me feel weak. Keep in mind that I don't have insurance, so I only go to the doctor when there is a huge emergency. Find a OBGYN, but it was only by appointment, so I made an appointment. My mom, being a superstitious Mexican, took me to see a curandera, or like shaman, medicine woman, etc. These are based on Catholicism, and I had given up religion years ago. So on my visit to the medicine woman, she circled me and she said that when she sees me, she only sees tombstones, and that she feels pain in her stomach. I didn't tell her my situation at all. I just told her my name, and right off the bat she pointed out where exactly my stomach pains are. Then she told me I had a death curse on me from a witch. My mom, being both HR and vice president of her work, she is in charge of firing people, telling lazy people to do their job, etc. So I always knew she had enemies, so I figured someone wanted to hurt her youngest offspring. But then the shaman lady told me I was cursed by someone close to my family, so I was like, WTF. She told my mom who it was exactly, and I was like, nah, I don't want to know who it is. I just want to get better instead of focusing on hate. Anyways, she did all these cleansing rituals on me, and there was a really creepy one. I'm not religious, so I thought it was all bull and a scam, but I did it just to make my mom feel better. So she made me hold a cross in one hand and she began circling me and praying, and my mom had to follow behind her to spray holy water on me. After a while, she began chanting and praying louder and faster, and I was like, WTF. And then a candle exploded, then another one, and she yelled at me, don't look back, and I was like, WTF is going on. I then saw my mom struggling to spray water on me. The air felt kind of heavy and groggy, and I don't know if I was weak from the energy or from my underweight problem. They stopped, and the woman grabbed the egg and rubbed it on my stomach, and that's when a bunch of dirt came out. It wasn't like she did some magician trick either, because she was wearing a sleeveless shirt and I was practically naked, only covered with a white sheet on my back. This creeped me out, and she told me that since I was on a death curse, I was kind of like halfway through buried in my grave, hence all the dirt. So, my dad died a few months ago, and she said that she felt a guardian presence watching over me the whole time. After I told her about my dad, she said that he might have prolonged my life from the other side. But after that, there were a few more ritual sessions to cleanse me and bless me. Like I said, I'm not religious, but I do believe in the supernatural. I don't know what exactly happened, but I've been slowly recovering. A lot of people give me compliments about how I look better. Any thoughts? Has anyone been actually cursed?
The religious and the supernatural can go hand in hand. Some myth and belief comes from a form of truth. I'm not telling you to get religious fast or anything, but open up more to it. Then again, if a girl or woman comes to me, I'm a bit of a shark and know how to get paid. Oh, it must be stomach problems. You can see how the connection is gonna stick. Lots of stuff inside a woman's midsection that can give her issues, especially when you recognize her looking sick or underweight in a certain way. So it's still 50-50. The egg and dirt thing could be a trick. The dirt was in the egg, or in a fist or pouch you didn't notice during all the misdirecting chaos. I will lean more towards the old world and respecting someone's belief and the strange or cool things it can bring out. But I'm just trying to list out some more level-headed, realistic stuff. How was this woman paid? Even if not directly or with money, does it help her standing even more in her community? Do they offer her food, gifts, money, or homes? And again, no disrespect to her or your ideals. It's just always good to weed out fakers, I'd say even more so if it's actually real.
I've kept open to it and go to church with my family out of respect. My mom put up a huge portrait of the Virgin Mary above my bed, and I've kept it there because it makes me feel safe. I don't know. It's a pretty cool portrait. The outline of the Virgin Mary glows in the dark. The woman didn't ask for payment at all, and she would provide with little knickknacks. Hence why I believe she wasn't really scamming or selfish. She may have faked the tricks and whatever, but she wasn't begging for money. My mom would pay her in tips, basically. The only thing she asked for was white carnations, but that was supposed to be a gift to the Virgin Mary in one of the sessions.
Mexicans in general are very superstitious. Both sides of my family believe in witchcraft. This is something that fathers tells and jokes about from time to time. Be my 16-year-old father living in the countryside. Wake up late at night to go to the bathroom. Bathroom is outside the house about 10 to 15 meters away. No source of light of any kind but the moon. Hear loud crack from a tamarindo tree nearby. Thing jumps from the tamarindo tree about 3 meters high. Dad just stares at it the whole time. He gets close to what turns out to be his aunt. Dad asks what she was doing up there at this hour. She says she was grabbing some tamarindo to do fresh water later that day. She walks away. Dad proceeds to the bathroom like nothing happened. He says that he later commented to her mother what happened, and she said to him to be careful because she is a witch and God knows what she wants from them, just to make things clear. That was a 70-year-old lady that jumped from 2 or 3 meters. The reason my father comment is because my mum sometimes complains that her knees or feet hurt and she can't walk, and he jokingly says that if his aunt could do that, then she can walk.
My mom grew up in the Appalachians, right on the eastern border between Kentucky and Tennessee. When she gave birth to me, she noticed my left leg and arm was ice cold, like there was no blood going into it. The doctor said he didn't feel comfortable operating on me because the chance was high that I might die during surgery and gave me around a week to live. She called her mom and told her. My mama told her to come up and let mama's aunt look at me. What she didn't mention was that my great-great-aunt was a folk healer. So they went to visit my mama and papa, and my mom and mama took me to see her Aunt Hinny. Aunt Hinny was 81 years old and lived alone after her husband died in a coal mining accident. She had no running water and, according to my mom, the toilet was an old one-horse stable attached to the end of the old house. Hinny was waiting outside her house with a tray of milk and cornbread, like she knew we were coming. She just said, "When I was praying last night, I kept thinking Lizzie was going to have a baby in a rough spot. Let me hold that little boy." Keep in mind, we just showed up out of the blue. She had no phone and no mailbox, so Mom handed me over. Now I was a very whiny baby when I was born, crying all the time for no reason, and would hardly sleep, but Mom said when she placed me in Hinny's arms, I shut instantly and fell asleep. They took me to a creek down near a hollow, and Hinny baptized me. She took mud and clay from the bottom of the creek and rubbed it onto my leg, arm, and chest. Mom said I never even woke up during the baptism and rubbing. Hinny started chanting, "The life is in the blood, ashes to ashes, dirt to dirt. What the Lord binds shall stay bound," over and over for a few minutes in a sing-song voice. After that, they took me back to her house. Hinny gave my mom jars of goat's milk to give to me as she said it was the milk I wanted. Mama was excited because my leg was starting to feel warm. After that, Mom noticed I slept the whole way home, a 4-hour trip. She took me to the doctor a few days later and the heart blockage was cleared, like it never even happened. Hinny died in 1988 and I only saw her once when I was 5, so I barely remember her. But she literally saved my life.
Great thread. Too bad it's just a demon's work in disguise. Trust me.
Can you elaborate? The more I read about her, the more attracted I feel. I want to know exactly what I'm looking into.
Sure, essentially I can 100% vouch for you to not fuck with this in the slightest. I'm Mexican like a few other posters in the thread, but I've noticed her presence and fellowship to be more concentrated with the poor, career criminals, and people without noble hearts. They leave cocaine, money, and packs of weed in her altars in exchange for favors, basically favors and wishes. My grandfather paid tribute to her, even had an altar in the house. He wasn't a good man. A mid-level mason died hated by the entire family because he was greedy and wanted to steal my grandmother's inheritance. From personal experience, I know that any idol that asks for things in exchange, or any idol, really, isn't something to worship and or work with. You're being called by Satan, bro. Turn to God and stray away from paganism. I've also heard that if you make her a promise in exchange for something and don't follow suit, then she will take revenge proportionally to the wishes she granted you. Needless to say, stay away.
I'm so sorry you had somebody like that in your family. It's never good to see those who are supposed to be loved ones acting against the family. Honestly, the part that scares me the most is the revenge part. I'm not really good with commitment. Thanks for answering Anon. I'll try to stay out of trouble.
I'm looking for some type of guidance, advice, or whatever anyone can help me with. I've had the same dream a couple of times, and no one I know can really tell me what it means. I was in some kind of weird temple grounds, and there were these monks. They were wearing a kind of mustard yellow robes. They all are doing these weird chants when they suddenly stop to look at me, and one of them gives me a statue of what looks like a Virgin Mary type deal. The statue had these light blue robe like a normal Virgin Mary would, but had a skull for a face like Santa Muerte does. It also had 2 different types of coral in its back, like growing from the base of the statue, one red and one blue. After having this dream, at some point I saw a red candle that kind of called my attention, and I started lighting it daily until it ran out and everything was fine then. A couple of weeks after I stopped, things haven't been going bad for me, but they haven't been going my way either. Is there anyone or anywhere I can go to learn more or understand what is going on? Or just pure imagination?
Devotee here. Seems like there's something going on with you and La Madrina. There's a couple of things you have to consider when approaching her. There's a deep mystery connected to Virgin Mary. It entails what she represents in the grand order of the manifested cosmos, her part on this and why she's connected in this manner to La Blanca. There's a symbolic process which happens on the altar in context with this which is reserved. Worshipping her is a matter of personal relationship which gets developed through time. Sometimes you will fuck up by doing wrong stuff that some practitioners keeps doing out of lack of understanding and bad info passed around. My learning is by gnosis, fuck-ups, and a spirit who knows how to work with her. Regarding this, I'll give you some tips. You don't mix it with any of the rest. She needs an altar of her own. La Blanca doesn't touch the ground with her bare feet. This goes with the above referral. You don't want to be naked in front of her. Unfortunately, she has a bad rep because of the narcos, sure, but this can be attributed to her willingness to take the marginalized. Keep in mind that she has her own sense of justice, so you really gotta think twice if you wish to fuck somebody up.
Can vouch for this Anon. I'm a traditionalist Roman Catholic who has learned how to sniff out demons, and I have no doubt that a demon is using this false idol to influence people and feed from their actions like a leech does from blood. This demon is disgustingly blasphemous, mocking the holy image of the Requiem Mass and the idea of death at the same time. If you find a statue of this thing, follow these steps exactly how I put them here. You should use the following too. Holy water from a Catholic church that has a validly ordained priest, preferably one that hosts the traditional Latin Mass or extraordinary form Mass. Incense used for Mass, blessed by a priest too, and with a thurible, a cross or crucifix you can wear, a rosary blessed by a priest, a Benedictine medal or emblem, which some rosaries have within the cross or the central bead, something to burn it with, and a crucifix you can hold or place. 1. Say out loud, In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, while making the signum crucis, sign of the cross, over yourself 3 times with holy water on the 5 tips of your fingers and the center of your palm. If you feel like you need to do it more, then do it 9 times more only. 2. Then say, while sprinkling holy water over the accursed item, Pax, crux sancti patris benedicti, crux sacra mihit lux, vade retro satana, numquam suade mihi vana, sunt quae libas, ipse venana bibas. 3. Next, repeat the sign of the cross from step 1 the same way, and then say, while incensing with the thurible, smoking out incense, Sancte Michael, defende nos in proeliol, contra nequitiam et insidious diaboli esto presidium. Imperet illi Deus, supplices deprecamur. Tuque, princeps militiae celestis, satanam aliosque spiritus malignos, qui ad perditionem animarum pervagantur, divina virtute, in infernum detrude. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Sign of the cross over yourself. 4. Light the cursed thing on fire, then hold the crucifix up while saying Domine Iesu miserere mea peccatoris 9 times. 5. Once it is done burning, don't touch the ashes directly. Sprinkle holy water on them 9 times while repeating the signum crucis, the sign of the cross, out loud and making the motion with the holy water. 6. Still don't touch the ashes, and get a dustpan or something to pick it up without touching it. Sprinkle holy water on the dustpan or shovel whatever while saying the signum crucis again 9 times, then dump the ashes out somewhere again without touching them where no one will touch them. You could sweep them into a bag and then put it in your outdoor garbage bin after if you want. Please do this if you can. It is important. Don't trust these demons. Attend a traditional solemn high Latin Mass near you. Trust in the most sacred Trinity in heaven. Deus benedictus Anons.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.